I'm Jess. Right now I'm a fitness instructor at XYZ, at Lights Out. I do PT as well. When I'm not doing those things, I am sitting at home, eating and playing video games.
Hi, I'm Rebecca, and I'm a yoga teacher. I also run a company called Feel Good Factory with Jess. Basically, we teach movement and such that feel good for the body, whether it's yoga, whether it's fitness, whatever it is. During my free time, nowadays, I like to spend my time at home because I have 2 cats that look like bats, and I call them my bats, and I hang out with my bats at home.
Sorry, Mom and Dad, but when I was in college, I dated a guy, I was in Boston also, and then I dated a guy who lived in DC. And what happened in college was I didn't get a job because I'm not as hardworking as she is, but I would get every 3 months, I would have a little bit of input, a deposit into my bank account. That was enough for like food, textbooks, or whatever I needed for school purposes only, and like, you know, eating meals outside. But because my boyfriend was living in DC at the time, I was also thinking, how can I first save up money and not eat at all these places so that I can save up and buy a ticket to go and visit him? That was kind of like, not my first, but like, you know, when you're a student and having to kind of balance out, do I go eat out with my friends? Do I need this? Like, do I need this cup of coffee or whatever?
So I went to BU in Boston. I didn't graduate from BU, but I spent the first 2 years there, and BU then was quite an expensive university. It's a private university, and I took out a loan to go to school. I had a small scholarship as well, but then I decided to transfer. So once you transfer out of the school, and I took a couple months, I took 1 semester off, but once you leave the school, suddenly you get all the papers and you must pay for your student loans. And I panicked. And then this is why I figured, maybe I just didn't know any better. The bill came and like, oh my goodness, I must pay for it. And that was my first panic. It's like, it's $100, but again, for a 19, 20-year-old, $100 is a lot of money. I have to work 100 hours to get there.
Growing up in the high school environment, it was like Abercrombie is the best, Hollister's cheap, and like you always think you have like pricing of things, and then when I got to college, it was also like Abercrombie's amazing. Oh my God, buy Victoria's Secret or whatever. And then you come back out of college, and you run among the same people who are always like. Most of my friends lived at home for a while at least, so it was a lot of saving up because they didn't need to pay rent or utilities, blah, blah, blah. And so it was a lot of like, check out this new bag I got. I'm going on a very expensive holiday and I get to do all these things. And I thought that I really liked those things too. Because of the way that Hong Kong culture is, it's you always need the new, you need the best, you need a new thing every single time you see someone. And I was just getting quite sick of it quite early on.
You didn't feel pressured?
No, not really. I think I felt the most pressure from my mom, ironically, because she was always like, you gonna meet your friends like that? And I'm like, I look like a normal person, Mom. Like, I'm just not carrying, like, I'm not dressed to the nines, but I wasn't homeless looking.
You sure?
If I am gonna invest in something, I want something that's gonna be with me for a long time.
I think very similar. Like I think about practicality, but I think as us being educated abroad and coming back, you generally end up hanging out with the expat circle, and there's a lot of expat circle that end up working in finance, working with things that have a lot of money, saying that we may have peers or friends that grow up in more affluent families and such, and well-supported families. So you go out with them and everybody's just shelling out like, let's go to like the best restaurants with all the most expensive things, carrying my newest and latest kind of thing. And I guess I never really felt like, when I asked you if you feel pressured, sometimes I feel like, am I supposed to be doing that? But I guess I was never really drawn to needing to spend on luxury. But in the sense of like feeling like you want to, I don't want to use the word blend in. Like I don't want to feel the need to blend into the people around me that are maybe living a different lifestyle than I do, because like we're in the same industry now, right? We don't work. We are a luxury for the people who basically live the luxury lifestyle.
That's a good way to put it.
So in a way, we are the product that people like to spend the luxury spending on. So I've never really felt like I needed to be upkeeping like the people around me, I guess, in the culture of it. But at the same time, I can see that like it's always constantly changing what is needed and what people are deeming like to be worth a value.
I think my relationship with money is still largely the same. I think, how should I put this? I will work as hard as it takes to be able to have as much money in the bank.
To have that video game.
Yeah, still the same.
Do you feel like your priorities change in how you spend?
No.
Oh.
No.
I feel like, yeah, I think very much like you. I haven't changed in a way where I feel like I'm still liking the hustling life. Not so much on a need base, but in a sense that I don't know how to not do anything. So I really enjoy doing the work, and then everything that I reap coming in is, you know, the extra. I guess a friend of mine once told me, nobody becomes a yoga teacher to become rich. And
sad fact.
But you know, rich comes in many forms. And I think like because of that, it sounds really silly. Like I really enjoy what I do. So when I go in to do the work, I don't feel like I have to like hustle to just make ends meet. Enough is good. I don't become a teacher to think like I need to overfill my pot. But as long as I have enough of my pot, I feel safe, then I think I'm in a good place.
You do.
To be honest, I don't really have a lot of investment. The only really thing I think about is I have like life insurance. I have like, you know, I have
NPF.
I have like insurance. Forced NPF. I have insurance that like gives me a little bit of dividend back. But to be honest, like if you think long term, like, you know, stock investments and such, I don't really, I guess, know how to play the game, to be honest. I used to work for a company in the US that gave me stocks, a very big company, and I hold it, but now what?
Yeah, I don't invest. I'm ashamed to say. I don't.
But I guess like I like the safety or like the risk. I don't know, people are like, you make risky investments. I feel like if you don't make the risk, you don't take the risk. Is that a thing?
What? No idea what you're talking about. But yes. I think I just haven't spent enough time looking
educating ourselves on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, obviously you have people who are very into different forms of investment, like I can't even like throw out a term right now, but you know what I mean. Like they have different types of investment, different things that they invest in. Like, and for me, I'm kind of like, I don't know the difference among any of them, and I don't know why one of them is better than the other or why one of them is riskier than the other. Fun fact, actually, I used to work for a startup Bitcoin company. And Bitcoin is still kind of like a flashy word to throw around these days because it's new currency. I don't know a thing about Bitcoin. They really tried very hard to educate me, and I understood for like a day, and then it was like, so I kind of understand why people have all the hype about Bitcoin and why it's so precious to like find miners and, you know, hold on to your Bitcoin. But if I were to put my money and turn it into Bitcoin, it goes up and up and up, and it suddenly crashes. So what happens if you sell one day late and you're at this point and not at that point? I think that's kind of where I don't understand.
I think it's overwhelming. I think because if we're not living and breathing the finance life and we're really worried about all the things that we're already doing, maybe I've never made it like a really big priority to think like every day this is what I want to talk about, my investments. My mom actually works in finance. She's been in it basically her entire career for the last 30, 40 years. And she does advisory and consulting for high net worth individuals, people with a lot of money. And it would be natural for me to learn from her. But for me in the past, I have maybe trusted her into helping me in putting a little bit of money away to do whatever it is that she did with it. But I think that's really the extent. It's just because I trusted somebody else to do it for me. I like to feel safe, and if I can trust somebody else to do it for me, then I think I feel better about doing it as opposed to me making a decision.
Every so often your bank account manager or whatever tries to ring you up and tries to talk to you about how you should invest. These are all the great things, like you said, option A to Z, and then you get so overwhelmed because a lot of it is, you have all this money, don't you want to make it bigger? Don't you want to make it bigger? Don't you want to make it bigger? And I'm like, I do, but none of what you're saying is A, tangible at the moment, B, making any sense to me other than give me more of your money. To find someone who I can feel is trustworthy, is someone who can give me tangible examples of how this can be used in the future. So I would need relatability. Maybe that's the word I was looking for. Relatability and likability and experienceability.
One day I would like to have something bigger that I own. Maybe not here in Hong Kong, because I feel like this is a place where just kind of sucks all of the money, even though it can grow really quickly, but it can also shrink really quickly. And just maybe thinking bigger than outside of where I am right now.
Because I am engaged, I'm having to think of my finances from another person's perspective and having to juggle what is reasonable for me versus what is reasonable for him, because we're on different salary brackets. Instead of just juggling me and my pockets, it's now me, my pockets, and his pockets, and him. And it's a lot of different factors now. Then, you know, weddings are a fee, expensive fee, and then honeymoons are a fee, which I'm totally happy to spend on. And obviously you're thinking ahead, family. Do I want to raise my kids in Hong Kong? Oh my God, it's so expensive to raise my kids in Hong Kong. So many different things I need to think about. If I have a family here, am I gonna have property here? Oh my God, the property prices are ridiculous. And it's just exactly like you said, Hong Kong can take so much away from you in 1 second. And if you make the right investments, I guess, it can also grow. But before you do, it just continues to suck away at your financial ability. And it is very scary to think about. And I don't know how anyone's done it, really. Hong Kong's so expensive. But it's definitely in the back of my mind, just thinking about these things and how what I'm doing now is going to translate to the me 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. And I don't have an answer yet.